I'm Derek Russell. I'm with DHD Waterfowl. I'm also here representing banded and buck Gardner calls. What I'm here to talk to you guys about today is just a little off-season prep. So during those long days when you're not able to go out hunting and you're getting bored, but you still got that itch, and just sitting at home watching these videos, sometimes it just does not always take care of it. So this is what I do during the off season. I'm going through everything I've got. I'm making sure everything's cleaned, prepped, and taken care of. So first thing I go through is my decoys, because we hunt them hard. So they're getting dragged through mud, they're getting dirty, they might be getting a little banged up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each and every one of my decoys, make sure that they're clean, give them a nice good scrub down. Just a little soap and water and spray with a hose is all you really need. Then on top of that, I make sure that the paint is good. Go through once they're all dry. I'm just making sure that there's nothing scuffed or paint's not peeling off of them, because when you hunt them hard, it does happen. So with that, I just make sure that they're all looking good. If any of them are, not looking the greatest and they need some touch up, I got a pile of them sitting right over here that need touch up. So with those, I'm going to go through with a little paint, and I'm just going to make sure that I fill in where it needs to be done. Then outside of cleaning my decoys, I'm making sure I'm going through my calls. I'm on my calls every day. There is no off season for me with my calls. I'm constantly practicing, making sure that I'm keeping up on them. But now what I got to do with that as well is I got to make sure that I'm going through cleaning them, inspecting, making sure that the reeds and everything are all intact. Now with that, tuning them, making sure you're kind of taking them apart, cleaning everything out. With buck Gardner calls, they got this awesome J board here. So with that, you just slide the wedge out. So there's your wedge. Here's your two reeds. So I'm just kind of going through them, making sure that none of them are worn down. I did just put new reeds in this one because I use this call a lot. It's pretty worn down. But then just make sure you're cleaning out. Q-tip, if you got any gunk in there, is pretty easy to clean everything out of the tone board itself and make sure that insert's looking nice and clean. But all you're going to do is then just take your reeds, make sure that they're in the proper position, it's one over the other, and just slide them into place. Then you just take your wedge, and you just slide that wedge right over, making sure that the reeds are still in the right place, making sure that the barrel is clean and free of any debris. Pop it right back in, and easy as that. And it's not that hard to do, and it's not that time consuming to go through all of your calls. Make sure that they're all tuned and all looking good. Now, outside of cleaning and prepping your calls, like I had stated, I'm always on my calls. Keep practicing. You can go to any YouTube video or anybody out there, just find a video of what tips or tricks. With buck Gardner calls, go to our Facebook page. We have tips and tricks and kind of a little bit of instructional videos of how to use your call. You can also find that on the buck Gardner website. We also have our Straight Talk CDs that you can purchase on the website there, and that's buck Gardner himself giving you a breakdown of how to use the call, what call to use, or how to really get them in close. So that's a great tool that you can utilize. So you can find that on their website. Outside of that, practicing your call, you're going to want to also be practicing your shooting. Off season is a great time to do that because you're not going to be scaring birds away. Also, it just keeps you up on your game, so that way as soon as you get those birds coming in, you're not pulling up and shooting and didn't get any that time. Now, the number one thing I see people having issues with is they have a flock of birds coming in, they look, they see them, they grab their gun, they pull up, and now they're trying to find the bird. The best thing you can do to make sure that you have an accurate shot is you see those birds coming in. Here they come, here they come, here they come. I'm getting ready, I'm grabbing my gun. I do not take my eyes off those birds. I'm keeping it going. I stand up, bring my gun up. I bring my gun to the bird. I don't get up with my gun, find the bird, and I don't use with my eyes and my gun. I keep my eyes locked on them, so that way I never lose my target, and then I bring my gun straight up to that bird and shoot exactly where I need to be. So that's a great thing to practice. A little trick you can do, they sell them pretty much in any sporting goods store you can go to and find the little shotgun shells where you put it in there and it's like a flashlight, shoots right out through the barrel of your light, or barrel of your gun, shooting a light out there. With that, it's a great tool because then you're sitting in your house. If you can't go out and shoot anywhere, you can find a mark on a wall, stay focused on that mark, bring your gun right up to there, and make sure that light's shining right where you're looking. If you don't have that, you can always take a flashlight, either tape it to the end of your gun or just kind of slide it right at the end of your gun, so that way as soon as you bring up, you can make sure that you're practicing that motion of bringing your gun to where your eyes are looking. Now, outside of practicing your shooting, gun maintenance, going through your gun and making sure that it's cleaned up. So you're shooting it every day during the season. Now, if you're going to be shooting it every day during the off season, you still want to make sure that after every hunt, after every time you're out shooting, go through, clean your gun out. It's not going to hurt it any. If anything, it's just going to make it shoot a whole lot better, and you're never going to have issues during the actual season when it counts. Next thing after that, you want to make sure you're going through. So if you're hunting out of a layout blind or a boat, whatever you're hunting out of, you want to make sure that you're going through all of that, so that way it's clean, it's prepped, and it's ready to go. During the season, we hunt everything we have pretty hard. So, for example, like our layout blinds, we have kids come out all the time. We do 100% free guided hunts. So when we bring those kids out, we give them a bag of candy, let them have some candy bars. Well, what happens with those wrappers? They're just not tossing them out there. They're leaving them in the blind. Sometimes, when we're picking them up, we don't get everything. Some of it gets pushed down to the foot of the blind. Same goes for like water bottles or pop cans, whatever it is. Make sure you're going through them. If you're in a layout blind, pick them up, give them a good shake out. Make sure everything's getting down there so you can clean it out. Make sure there's no garbage. Get rid of all the dirt that's built up in there, or dust or cornstalk, grass. Make sure it's all getting clean. Then for exterior maintenance, just making sure that you're cleaning out all the old stubble. As you can see here, I still have to do this one. So that's our A-frame blind. It's still all brushed up from the last hunt we did with it. So go through, make sure you're tearing out all of the old stubble, get rid of it wherever you can, and then go through and make sure all the mud that you had put on there from last year, kind of just kick it all off. I always like to every year go through and add more mud to it. I just go find silt from a pond or a river, wherever you can find it, or if you want to just dig a hole in your yard and get it wet and make some mud that way. Whatever way you want to go about finding mud or silt, that's up to you. But I just make sure that I have a bucket full and I go through all the blinds and make sure that they are evenly coated with mud, covering the entire outside. And then that way I don't have to worry about when I'm out there, is my blind going to be shiny at all? Is that going to, if I have a bare spot, is that going to flare the birds if they see a shiny fabric coming through? So outside of cleaning them, that brings us over, cleaning the blinds, that brings us over to your boat, making sure that your engine's tuned up, making sure that everything's still running and working properly. A lot of times, be up here in the north, our boats sit all winter long. When we're not using them, they're just sitting there, just making sure that your lines are clear and free. Make sure that you don't have just gas sitting in there rotting away. So if you still have gas sitting in a tank, chances are it's probably gone a little bad. Might be a good idea just to dump it out and get some fresh gas in there. Let the engine run a little bit. Flush everything out, keep it going, so that way you have fresh new stuff going through the lines. Make sure it's not just sitting there idling, building rust on the inside. So just all around proper maintenance, changing any oil out of the boat motor. As for actual boat maintenance, you know, just like the blinds, they get dirty. Go ahead, go through, clean them up. If you notice that there's any paint or any bare metal kind of showing that's pretty shiny, you know, pick up some paint from the hardware store and give it a little spray over. Or if you're just gonna do it with a paint can and a brush, just go right over it, make sure that it's covered up. A good thing that I like to do in my boats, just for traction wise, I'll go through and get bed liner and I'll coat the inside of that, so that way we got a good solid, you know, traction going through the boat. Making sure that your boat blind is good and ready to go. Sometimes, you know, you're driving down the highway with them things, and you know, they do take a beating. They're going up and down all day long when you're out hunting. If you're having a successful day, you're getting in and out of that thing all the time. Now with that, you know, you just want to make sure, same thing with any other blind, make sure that it's been properly taken care of, cleaned up, replace stubble, get that out of there, so that way you can put fresh new stuff in closer to season, so that way you can match with what is around you. Now, as for blinds, you know, if you don't have a boat blind and you don't feel like you have the skill set to build one or don't know how to start, if you're looking for a great blind, Bandit does make a phenomenal blind that works for both shoreline and it works for your boat. So with that one, it's simple setup. Just go straight to their website. You can see it there, but literally you pick it up, bars lock into place on both sides, and then you got full coverage all around you. Just take it down, just slap those bars down and just watch it drop straight to the ground, and you're good. So it levels out flat and it goes up nice and tall to cover you guys, so that way you have perfect concealment. So that's always a good option. I do recommend going and checking that one out. So I just want to thank you guys for your time. If you have any questions or want me to do another video with a little more information on any of the topics I just covered with you, feel free to shoot me a message or an email. I'm always available, and I'd be happy to give you more information or possibly do another video about it. Thank you very much.
So I'm gonna go duck hunting. Pintails, mallard, hood, and McGanns too. Bless my soul, I'm gonna go duck hunting. Got so cold, thought I lost 3 toes, hypothermic and a shade of blue.